Hello, and welcome to the Marketing on Purpose podcast. I'm Michael Fennick, partner at RDB. On today's podcast, we're joined by our first official guest, Musair Yassin, better known as Nas Daily. Nas is a creator who, over 3 years, posted 1,000 plus videos to Facebook and other channels in a daily 60-second format, becoming an international sensation. His topics are wide-ranging, touching on evergreen content. I see Nas as the king of content, and he's absolutely amazing. Check out his content simply by searching hashtag Nas Daily, NASDAILY. Nas has garnered millions of followers, over 1 billion views on Facebook and other channels. For this podcast, it feels like friends getting back together as we are joined by Mario Alonso Debu, CEO of RDB, a global marketing agency, and Karen O'Brien, an international marketing executive, in a conversation where we discuss Nas's journey, the future of influencer marketing, how content can influence full funnel marketing. If you enjoyed today's podcast with Nas, please consider leaving us a rating and a review. Let's talk with Nas.
So Nas, the purpose here is to catch up, have a conversation around the table. So I'll set an agenda and then we'll kick things off. But the real topic I wanted to talk about is the future of influencer marketing. But first, let's get a little bit personal. If you don't mind, how is Eileen? How is your sister? How's the family? Is everything good?
That's very nice of you to ask. Thank you so much, guys. Mario, Michael, Karen, it's so nice to be here. And it's an honor to speak to all three of you at the same time. The last time we did it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago only? No, maybe more. 3.
I think some more. Yeah, 3. It needs to be 3. Yeah.
2.5. Yeah. Thank God for Facebook. I know exactly everything that goes on with your lives, guys. Life is good. I'm still in the same relationship. I still have the same family. And but I've moved locations, so now I'm in Asia. I'm making a bet on Asia, so I'm in Singapore, and I started a company, and I still make videos.
It's fantastic. Is it a service? Is it a service that you provide? How does the business model work?
Right now, we're building Nas Studios, which is essentially we figured out a way how to make social media content very, very fast and very, very effective. So we want to double down on that. So we offer that as a service. And the next product we're working on is called Nas Academy. The idea behind it is, look, a lot of people want videos. Not many people know how to make videos. And that's going to be more important in the future. So we're building the product, which is an academy that teaches video creation, that manages talent, that tries to be on the authority on social media videos. So that's the kind of direction we're going to. So we're stuck 3 months old in the middle of a pandemic. So hope it works out.
Awesome. So that is predicated on a foundation which you're extremely well known, and that's Nas Daily, and that provided you a foundation of 1,000 videos. I can't remember how much time, but can you talk about what that journey was like? Because I'm glued to it. Anyone I talk to is glued to it. I see it all the time, and every story that I see, it's so impactful for me in many ways. I travel the world, so every one of your stories means something to me. But what stories? I guess this is a cliche question, but which one of the stories impacted you the most, or maybe had the most impact?
Good question. Michael, thank you so much. I appreciate your time in watching those videos. Really, I never take it for granted. 2, it took me forever. A lot of people think making videos is like an overnight success, or like a take your phone out and make a video. Usually to make a 1-minute video, I needed 10 hours. Some people could take 20 hours. Some people could take 1 hour. My time was 10 hours. 4 hours scripting, 4 hours shooting, well, actually 3 hours scripting, 3 hours shooting, 3 hour editing. And it took me 3 years or so to actually make any sort of impact on the scene. So the first year, nobody cared. The second year, very few people cared. One of them was Western Union. So thank you so much. And then the third year, more and more people cared. And the fourth year is like all of a sudden now everybody knows about it. What was the main question?
Oh, what were the most impactful for you, or do you think had the biggest impact? So I guess 2 different questions. Like which one had that big impact on you where, wow, I'm making a difference? And we had one of those instances, I think, that we recorded in Live More, Share More in the Philippines, where I saw you, and there was this massive stage of people, and it was like, oh my God, that was heartfelt for me, right?
Yeah. The thing is, it's so funny because every time you make a video, the hope behind every video is that this video is gonna be the most popular, most successful, most impactful video in the world. It's kind of like every time you have a kid, you never get pregnant and have a kid and say, oh, I want this kid to be average. No, every time you have a kid, you want this kid to be the next president of the United States. Similarly, every time I create a video, I want it to perform. Now I get disappointed all the time. All my videos have impact to me, but very few of them actually have impact to the world. And the ones that do have impact to the world make it worth it. So I don't have a specific video, but in reality, I try not to play favoritism with my kids.
Right now, I'm watching your videos to feel like I'm traveling, honestly.
Well, that has changed now, unfortunately, because now it's just the videos is just me talking, unfortunately.
I'm going back, watching your old videos.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. I remember when we were in the hotel in San Francisco. So I think the point that you made about those 10 hours is even an underestimate, right? Because you were constantly working on 3 or 4 videos simultaneously, right? You were filming the one that you were doing right now. At the same time, you were writing the script. So whenever there was a second, I saw you sitting there reciting your script, changing it. It was really impressive to see because we started early morning. We went out to Stanford and then to the Golden Gate Bridge. And you were even in the car, you were checking your next flights for the next video. Then we came back to the hotel and then you had to do all that editing, right? And we were still doing interviews. So your days were crazy. It was 7 o'clock in the morning until 2 o'clock at night. It was really impressive, but did it also take a toll on you? I mean, 1,000 videos, 10 times 1,000. So you spent 100,000 hours for, what was it, 2 years?
The way I like to think about it, it's not a full-time thing, it's a full life thing. So you kind of really have to dedicate your life to it. The 10,000 hour rule, right? When you spend 10,000 hours on something, you become, and I actually calculated, I think after 3 years, it was 10,000 hours. It took a big, like a lot of people also like don't speak enough about the cost of success. Like, let's assume you make $1 million. Great, you made $1 million. But that $1 million cost you something. Maybe it's not money, but it cost you something. So for me, the cost of the followers or the money or whatever is like I have no more friends back home. So when I go back home to Israel, to my village, like zero people I can talk to other than my parents. I have no friends left in the US. Like 1 or 2, but really we never talk. I didn't go on a date for 2-3 years, like a proper date, like a proper weekend date with my girlfriend. So I didn't go to a hospital. I didn't go to a gym in 4 years. Literally, I haven't entered the gym in 4 years. So there's a health cost, there's a social cost. And for me, the way I think about it is like, this is important, but the result is much more important. So it's a trade-off worth having. And the minute the trade-off is not worth having, that's when I stop.
Yeah, it sounds like this had the most positive outcome. And I say that because I love the content. Everybody I talk to who knows you loves the content for different reasons. But to me, it's aspiring that you can not only share your thoughts, opinions with the world, but also explore the things that you didn't even know you knew a year before, right? So halfway into your journey, I'm sure were experiencing things that changed your perspective, and you shared it with the world, and it was a positive thing. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, we're both learning at the same time. It's not like I'm here, I'm inspiring you. It's like I'm learning, you're learning together. We're equal. And that's very, very important. I hope it comes off like that. I think recently it's starting to come off a little bit like, this is what you should do. And I know I'm getting a little bit preachy, so I should probably stop. So
we're getting older, Naz. That's it. We're getting older. We're getting more patronizing.
We're getting older and patronizing.
We're all 30 know everything.
Yes. I need that reality check.
How would you say, Naz, that your your content and your way of working evolved over the years. So when you started, your content was quite different, not very different, but it had a different energy to it, and it evolved tremendously. Was it also reflecting you personally? Different, how would you say your content evolved over the years?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it has to be data driven. In the sense that if I make a video about something and it's not performing, you cannot, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So, for example, I'll give you this thing, right? I started a recent show called Life Before COVID, where I wanted to show the world how life was before COVID-19. People, big meetups, fun, travel, tourism, yeah. And then I launched the first 2 episodes, and I really wanted to make that to show how life was so that we can get back to it. And then a lot of people were like, I don't care. Like you see it in the data, you see it in the retention rates, you see it in the comments. Like you see the data tells you this is not interesting. And you think about it, okay, I'm also interested in life after COVID. How does that look like? The futuristic life. And so I literally took the same series, changed the name from Life Before COVID to Life After COVID. And now it's just about what's going to happen to all of us now. And that is performing 10 times better simply because of the data. So I think it's very important to be data-driven in life.
Did you have this, I talked to a lot of influencers, and it's that crazy instant gratification, right? So you worked all day, you post your video, and then it's the waiting game. It's the, how many likes do I get? Is it doing well? I remember you were telling me in San Fran that, in the past you were happy when you had 30,000 views when you started, and then you almost get disappointed every time where you didn't hit the million. Can you tell me a bit about that? What did it change now? Is it easier now, or is it still?
No, it never gets easier. That's the sad reality of life. I actually made a video about this called the numbers trap. It's like it's a trap. I'm a slave to it. Where essentially, numbers never end, and therefore you can always get higher and higher numbers. So now we talked about the million thing, right? Now, if I don't hit 3 million views for the video, I am sad. And back then when I talked to you, I was happy if I got 1 million. So same applies to money, same applies to social media, same applies to likes per minute. And the problem is Facebook and YouTube and everything, they're making the analytics more and more and bigger, right? So previously I used to care, I care about the number of views and we're done. Now I care about the number of views, the number of likes, the number of comments, the retention rate, the distribution factor, the number of engagement. And it's like, and the country where people are watching it from, the city where people are watching it from, the average viewership. So I have 8 numbers I have to pay attention to for me to be happy. And most of the time, I can only get 4 of them to be satisfactory.
Right.
And it's like, so yes, there is instant satisfaction, but the dark side of data is that
there's instant disappointment.
and when is enough? Like when is there ever enough?
I've come to the sad realization that it's never going to be enough. So I will die unsatisfied. I will die unhappy. And that's not even the problem. The problem is when you start being data driven when it comes to the humans around you, right? When you look at your friend and you say, can they be better? You look at your girlfriend, you say, can I have a better relationship? Like what numbers exist? Like how many times do we fight? Can we fight less? And if not, is there a better person? Because there's 7 billion people in the world. So that,
right.
And imagine having a kid and realizing your kid can be better. So I'm in that trap, and I have a feeling I'll be in it for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I was going to say, Naz, look, you had a scholarship to Harvard. You graduated with an economics degree. I think it's in your pedigree, and I agree. You're stamped with that, and I think it's for a good reason. But look, man, you're driven, and that's what brought you to this place, and that's what's going to drive you to the next place, right?
That's true. But don't say I'm happy. There's a big difference.
No worries, Naz. We know you'll find the next project that will make you unhappy. As soon as you're happy, you'll find the next thing.
Hey guys, so I wanted to talk about influencer marketing and
Yes.
what we grew up with, in the last 3 years, what we saw. Karen had built an amazing model of what we called an influencer pyramid that basically shaped, what was the old celebrity Kardashian model down to, from a company standpoint, a brand standpoint, employee engagement and involvement and that sort of thing. And there's a middle path there. And that's where I think we found you, Naz. And I think the importance of that is authenticity. I mean, again, we had dozens of influencers, but to me, your story and your authenticity and your content stood out above everyone else for a number of reasons, like I mentioned before. Talk to me about where you think that industry is at right now, where you're at right now.
Did you see yourself as an influencer? Do you see yourself as an influencer?
So the stigma around the term influencer, and I honestly think it's a justified stigma, because if I look at my life, who influenced me the most? It wasn't someone on Facebook or YouTube. It was my mom and my teacher and my professor, and maybe your doctor who influenced you and saved your life. So I feel like the term influencer should be kind of reserved for teachers and doctors, because these are the most essential jobs and the most influential jobs right now in the middle of COVID and after. So in a way, I made you like some, look, no, everyone sees the shiny stuff. I'm in the middle of the darkness, so I see how ineffective some of my videos are. Like I make a video now about let's raise money for the poor. Like how much money can I raise? If I get more than 50,000, I'll be very, very lucky. So there's really not real influence there because I wasn't able to channel money. Yeah, you click the like, but is that influence? I mean, that's not influence. In that case, a fucking mosquito is influence because it makes you do this,
Mm-hmm.
So the way I like to think about it is we're content creators. We're creators. Essentially, if I didn't exist in the world, there will be 1,000 videos less. That's it. My videos, people saw them. Maybe their life changed because of them. Maybe they say I've healed their anxiety or made them not suicide, which we get those emails. But it's never been the goal. And that's when the goal of your content creation is to influence, I don't know. I think something is off with that. Or the goal is to become famous. I think something is off with that. But that being said, the world is moving to more and more influencers or content creators. In the world, there will not be one CNN. There will be 1,000 CNNs, right? And each CNN is going to have 1 employee or 2 employees, maybe 3 employees. And media is going to be distributed just like a Bitcoin, just like a blockchain, right? So it's going to be equally distributed around the world. And that's very exciting because it means all of us are in the right business, right? The business of promoting content creators, of finding them. Now, I don't think we have enough content creators.
Content creators, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a lot. We have enough boobs on Instagram. We have enough sexuality on Instagram. There's enough of that. But people that can influence or change opinions, we don't have enough, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've seen a little tension recently in our current situation between brands and influencers or creators. I don't know if you've seen any of that. I've seen frustrated businesses and brands, going off on creators saying, why are you hitting my inbox, asking me for stuff? Don't you understand? I'm trying to save my business. And the flip side of creators, basically saying to brands, why are you asking me to promote your products? I could care less right now. I'm like everybody else, hunkered down with my family. And I think it's bringing some real problems to light of the model.
Yeah, maybe there needs to be like a middleman or some authority on influencers or content creators that kind of dictates what's a good content creator, what's a bad one. So you don't have to, kind of like what Airbnb did to the bed and breakfast market. I feel like someone needs to exist to be the authority.
That would be consumers, though.
Yeah,
right?
I think so too. I feel it's changing in a way where, so if you look at YouTube and Facebook videos, there are so many talented. I mean, there are a few, but the quality of the content is getting better and better and better, right? With a few ones, like if you look at those fantastic scientific or educational channels on you, it's insane.
Yes.
So I feel like they're starting a way where they also get more powerful, right? As you said, they're no longer just an influencer; they become a small CNN or they become a small media outlet.
Right.
And suddenly, I can see that also the sponsors make more sense, right? So it's Curiosity Stream, it's Squarespace, wherever it makes sense. And I feel like this is a natural evolvement of where we've been, and it's less about, it becomes less influencing, it becomes classic advertising, right? So they do an episode, and then there's a 1-minute sponsored piece in there where they talk about it, and then it goes on. And I think it's really interesting that we go back to the classic models where it's
to the TV model, yeah.
Right, like the old radio moderators, they were like, and this program is sponsored by. And so they do the same stuff. I think it's.
I've seen some chefs, it's like sponsored by KitchenAid. It's like, kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That makes sense.
Yep.
I mean, look, wherever there's attention, there's going to be a business coming in.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, with how many business, like you work with us, with Western Union, did you work with businesses a lot? Like, is it still something, or now you're producing mainly for Facebook directly? How's your engagement with other brands and with companies?
Yeah, so now it's increasing mainly because we have to pay salaries. Now we have 20 employees, and so we got to pay. We have this fixed cost every month that we must hit. So we really need to work with as many companies as possible. But our main home station or headquarters is still Facebook. Creating content for Facebook. I think, 4 years ago, it was inconceivable to sponsor someone to make a Facebook video because Facebook videos weren't a thing. In 4 years, now there's Facebook Watch, there's Facebook ads, mid-rolls, there's Facebook branded deals. So in the next 5 years or so, this is only going to become bigger and bigger. And our goal is not necessarily to capitalize on it, not to turn it into money, but to be relevant in those discussions. Because at least we have the authority to say no to the bad content creators and yes to the good content creators. And that's a power I would like to have.
Hey, Naz, talking about the insurgence of Instagram and other channels, are you dabbing into TikTok, et cetera? So I think, like we mentioned, content is king. You're the king of content.
Very generous term. I like it.
So how have you seen Instagram in the past coming up? I guess in the last year, and then do you see any other opportunities with other platforms for what you're doing and how you'd advise companies?
So for us, the way we judge a platform is essentially it's not how much money can you make from it; it's how many eyeballs can it give me without me working too hard. So, actually YouTube doesn't give you that many eyeballs, and Instagram doesn't give you that many eyeballs because the shareability aspect of this platform of Instagram is not, people don't share on Instagram as much as they share on Facebook. And you cannot share anything on YouTube. It's almost very hard to share a YouTube link because it doesn't work on Facebook. It doesn't work on Instagram. So YouTube became its own bubble and you can only be explored via the Google search results. Instagram is becoming bigger and bigger because you can actually share things. You can share videos. So that's becoming increasingly better. And Facebook is still the king when it comes to shareability. And TikTok, I think in 1 year, it'll be even bigger than Instagram in terms of discovery. Content creators, I think, care about discovery more than money, at least for our case. Money is a guaranteed side effect. But if you want to judge a platform, judge it based on how many views can it give you if you just upload your video just like that. When it comes to brands, if I were a brand, to be honest, I probably still go with YouTube. Just the engagement from a purchase, from exposure to a purchase for a Facebook video that is a content creator made it's not as high as I'd like it to be. Same with Instagram. I don't know. Ads work, but it's very hard to resurface a video that I made a week ago on Facebook.
That's true.
You make it has a 1 week life and then bye-bye. But on YouTube, it's like has a much longer time, longer tail. So my content as a brand is always relevant.
So are you going to get the better in analytics, the data that you were talking about earlier from Facebook or YouTube? It seems like you get more deeper, better access from Facebook, but more quantifiable results from YouTube and Google. What have you seen?
At this moment of time, YouTube has more analytics, but in the next 6 months to a year, Facebook will have better analytics. So they've been really catching up very, very fast. So in the past 3 years ago, I couldn't tell how many 1 minute views I had. Now I know how many 1 minute views, I know retention rates, I know cities, everything. So it's only going to go up because they have a lot more data than YouTube. I mean, it's like on YouTube, it's like some kids watch my video named Casanova Love 1993. It's like, okay, that's not enough data. But on Facebook, I know their occupation, I know who they are, where they live, where they studied. It's amazing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I can quote you on this, right? But when we had our last conversation like 2 weeks ago, we were talking about business, and we were talking about how hard it is to attract business, right? And you mentioned this with the trap. Now you wanted to work less. Now you have your 20 employees. Now you need to feed those 20 employees. It becomes this perpetuum mobile of, again, growth. And you said something really interesting. You have your millions of followers, and it's still really hard to find business, even though it's in the core group. They followed you for your content, and then you offer products in terms of content, and it's still hard to sell.
Yeah.
Can you already have a reflection on why that is? Do you feel it's that because it's just a like and it's hard to build a real relationship or a real convincing argument? Let me know about that. That'd be great.
I think the hardest thing is to look at you and not see an individual, but see an institution. When I look at a YouTuber or a Facebooker, I see a person, and that's it. So I see them as entertaining me or giving me information, and bye-bye. It's very, and so I'm interested in them as a person, but I'm not interested in them as a company. So when people think of Nas Daily, they think me, Nosire. But I don't want them to think that. I want them to think company. We can create your videos, this style, but not me in it. But we can make it, fast, cheap, efficient, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, just make another video. I'd love to see where you are in the world, And it's like, so changing the way people see you is very, very hard. So don't be confused by the millions of followers. And I think that's why maybe like Kylie Jenner or whatever, or maybe some influencers, they create companies that at least have a different name. Just like Alba, the honest company. Okay, that's a company. For me, I think one of the mistakes I did was it's called the Nas company. So people think, oh, it's just a way to get Nas himself. But no, it's not. It's a real media company. So I think these are considerations people should keep in mind when they're about to become a company. Now, I'm not, I think this is temporary. In the future, I want NAS to be as big as Virgin, right? The Nas group, the Virgin group. That's
Awesome.
The goal. So it doesn't matter what the hell the Facebook page says. Doesn't matter what you know me as. Huffington Post did a great job. So I think this is just a temporary obstacle that will be here for the next year. But after that,
it's a transition phase, basically. It's moving from there's this individual creator that brilliant individual, and now it's moving into a brand and into a company. I love NES actually.
Yeah.
It's like
hey, Nas,
good.
Nas, can you give some more background on Nas? Because I understand it has a meaning in Arab, which I thought was beautiful. Can you tell us?
Yeah, Nas means people in Arabic, Nas. So people, community, nation. That's just my nickname. My real name is Nosire, so it's not even my name. So Nas, I want that to be the recognizable brand around the world. Nas Hotel, Nas Airline, Nas Studio, Nas Academy, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I want that to be consistent around the world. And it's a 40-year mission that has a 99% chance of failure. So we'll see if the 1% works.
I love it, Nas.
Guys, I had a 99% chance of having this podcast not exist because Nas Daily would not have worked. So
that's true. What a beautiful journey it has been, huh?
What has it been like working with Aline?
What has it been like working with Aline?
Yeah.
Aline, come say hi.
Yeah, Eileen.
Eileen, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm just playing a child in a movie right now, so I'm getting my pigtails in.
Ah,
For real?
Just shooting a video, yeah.
Very cool.
We're shooting a video.
Yeah, for real.
I love the jumper.
yeah.
Thank you.
Love the ducks.
I have been so inspired watching the two of you grow together. And
Yeah.
I asked, how has it been working together? I mean, I don't know many couples that would survive the schedules that you guys have, gone through, the travel, the hours. I mean, it's been really inspiring. And where you guys are today, it's just great. I mean, at least I know it's probably not easy, and it's probably
Inspiring is like you're holding on to the back of the truck and being dragged.
That's true. Yeah.
Super inspiring.
That's how it looks like.
Now, where are we going next? I don't know, but we have to run.
But I mean, if I look at it the perspective of, Nas has a voice and so do you, and they're very distinct, right? And you're together, and you're also together. I mean, that's incredible where you are today.
Thank you.
I think that was very important that we have independent voices. So she makes her own content, which is all about women's rights, animals' rights, and I make my own content. I have to preface this, as a company, we haven't been able to make it work as co-workers.
Yeah, I don't work at his company, so I'm a separate entity.
Unfortunately, but we work a lot together. Like right now, what you're about to shoot is for the company. And I'll tell you the reason why, and that's why I'm actually inspired by what Mario does, working with his wife, is for us, it was very difficult because in a relationship, we're equal. So I don't know how, Mario, you did it, but for us, it's difficult to go, 1 minute we're equal, the next minute CEO and worker,
it's really, I think this is the biggest challenge, right? Because there is a natural inequality in the roles you have. So as you said, in the end, it's your business, it's your company. But I think it also reminds you, it humbles you, right? Because you're like, for the niece, hi Eileen, for the niece, I'm not the CEO or their international entrepreneur. I'm Mario, right? Yeah. And I think it's a great thing because it always reminds me of, I'm not that smart. I'm not that great. My wife still makes fun of me, and my wife still knows when I talk bullshit. So for us, it's been great. But I also have to say it's important that we're in different roles, right? So she's client service director. She takes care of, similar to Eileen, of animal rights, all our social clients. And I'm kind of like the guy who drives business and marketing. And it's been working great for us. But
there's silos.
There's a bit of silos, but we had the same challenge, right? The first 3 years we were sitting next to each other, and that was really hard because you have your situations in the day where it's, you get an email and you're pissed off, or you get angry, and your partner sits next to you and really reacts to that, even though it's just a 1 minute angry attack for you, it affects your partner on the other side. So we really I had to get my own office. I had to have a door where it's like, okay, in the breaks, we see each other, we go to work together, but then there's work. And that was, if there's one advice I could give is find your separate space and find a way where, you might have a door that you can close to say, I'm working.
That's cool. I don't have that in my office, but I should do that. Yeah, I'm like, I have this San Francisco mentality of like open space, no walls, everything must be glass, and all that, no way to hide. We're all equal. So I'm so like, I drank the Kool-Aid. So that's how I built the office, but I understand the challenges with it now.
But all those CEOs that did that, they have their penthouse loft office, where you have to take a lift to the 6th floor. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's
funny.
I mean, it's natural, at least for me, if I'm in the zone, if I'm focused, I think there's nothing more distracting than like those small little questions in between, right? Where it's like, hey, where is that file laying? Or have you seen that video already? Could you give me feedback? And I'm like, sorry, I'm in the middle of something else. And that already gets you out of the zone. So I think having your space where you can define barriers and say, now is okay and now is not was one of the most important lessons I learned building the company.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've always railed against is the open space approach to offices. And Karen and I were fortunate enough to bully our way into getting our own office. But I think it's so true. I mean, even today, working from home, when you have to, it's like a distraction's a distraction. And if you're focused on something, Naz, Karen, Mario, it's like you need to finish it. And if you don't finish it, then, it disrupts your life. It really, exactly. It gets you angry. It gets me angry. It's like, even as my mom.
I go through ups and downs. Like I worked as a consultant for years. Yeah. Kind of like road warrior, sometimes at home, sometimes wherever. And I kind of feel like go through stages where if I am working too much from home, I feel isolated. If I am working too much in the office, then I feel like I need some space and focus. I mean, we worked out at the Battery in San Francisco for a while, right? Like, because we didn't have an office. I never wanted to leave that place. They had a guy making their espresso every day, and they had a gym downstairs. It was awesome. I could live like that. It was
awesome. Let's do that again, Karen. The Battery wasn't a bad place to work out of, but you're the queen of you're the queen of multitasking. You can literally be on 2 conference calls at the same time and have something strategic to add that would blow everybody away. And both those 2 meetings at the same time, you're scheduling another meeting and writing another proposal. So you're gifted, cool. Is what I'm saying.
Multitask, yes.
It is true. Women are much better at multitasking than men.
I'm so bad at it. If I'm on one thing, like the whole world fades out. It's
yeah.
I saw you the same. You were constantly in the zone. I remember Nas, we were driving down. It was the most beautiful. I mean, maybe you're used to it, right? But it was the most beautiful scenery I've ever been into. We were chasing the sun because we wanted to film the last scene.
Yeah.
So we were driving from Stanford to the Golden Gate Bridge, and we had that sunset over the Golden Gate Bridge, right? And Nas was actually driving, right? So you didn't see anything. You were for you this was a road. You were in your head. You had to book your flight. You had to figure out how you get back to the hotel at 8. So it was really interesting to see how it creates this separate reality, right? Because you're in your zone and that's your world, and the rest of the world almost doesn't matter.
And it doesn't, and it still doesn't. It's really. I think the secret to success is to have tunnel vision. I don't care about anything really other than what I need to achieve. The only reason I traveled because I needed to for the videos, not because I thought it was fun.
Right.
So it's something important to keep an eye on. But I had fun, but it wasn't the motivator. It's like the video is number 1, life is number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those 10 minutes. The 10 minutes that rested each day, the 10 minutes that you still had, that was life. Crazy.
That was life. Yeah.
So Naz, what's the focus now? So what's the next 10 minutes? Do you have a timeline of what you want to do with your company in Singapore? Have you outlined that?
I'm just as lost as I was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and 2 years ago. I think we're all always lost, and we're trying to find our way through the darkness. So, my goal now, I know for a fact that my goal now is to look. I have the Mickey Mouse. I built the Mickey Mouse, which is the recognizable face, T-shirt, followers, whatever. I need to figure out how to build the Walt Disney. I need to figure out how to build the institution or corporation. And that is my next challenge. I think there's nothing sexier in the world than having 1,000 people come to work every day, get a job, get money, and create something that you cannot create with your own hands. So, my limit when you met me, Mario, was 1 video that's 1 minute a day. That's my human limit. But can I create 100 videos a day? Can I be the reason 100 videos are created per day? Can I be the reason 100 NAS dailies were created? That is for me the most. So it's impossible for me to create 100 videos a day. But if I have a team of 100, then maybe it is possible. So that's the next goal, is to do something that I'm unable to do by myself.
So I guess a question for you. Do you think that now is a good time to become a creator?
Now? It's the best time. First of all, I don't think it will ever be too late in the world. Second of all, this is the best time in the history of the world to become a creator, because this is the first time ever where the world's attention is centered into a 13-inch screen or a 20-inch TV or a 6-inch phone. Never in the history of humankind will this happen again. So if you make any video about current affairs or about what's happening that's relevant, automatically you will, boom, like succeed. So I highly advise, the consumption is super up. So I highly advise people to create content right now. Now, obviously, if you're creating tourism content, no one cares. If you're creating content about environmentalism right now, nobody cares. If you create it about your family, nobody cares. The truth is, the content that people want to consume now is to help them cope with their reality. So how to beat COVID-19 if you're a doctor, or how to survive COVID-19 from an economy perspective if you're a normal human. So those, I think, is what content creators should focus on for the next 3 months or so. And then after that, it's fair game for anything.
So that's a really good point, Naz, in terms of when we're creating content right now for podcasts, and we just started this series, you're one of the first couple of people out of the box.
Thank you.
One thing I want to make sure is that not that we focus on COVID-19, but maybe touch upon some of the topics, assuming that we get out of this, assuming it's 6 months from now, where people are going to be at, like economically. I think I watched a BBC show tonight that was talking about the outcome of people who can't pay rent and where they're going to be and the disparities that are going to happen there. And there are people that don't have, 3 months worth of savings. Like, this is going to become real. People that can't eat. Is this going to be a society where violence comes into play? I don't necessarily want to go there, but I guess my point is the COVID topic, I think, brings a basket of content that is going to be people's reality in 6 months.
Yes, I completely agree. And, you don't have to don't talk about COVID, but talk about the impact of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the truth is, we invented the internet because of war. It was Department of Defense grant. We landed on the moon because of war. Uber started because of the recession, in the middle of the recession. So really, during these down times, great things are built. And I think great creators will be built as well.
You said you need, can I find 100 NAS that help me create 100 videos, right? And then you also have the NAS Academy. Can we wrap it up maybe a bit with talent and those creators and finding that talent and what it takes to be a good creator? I mean, you must have a ton of experience from the NAS Academy the last year.
Like what it takes to be a good creator?
Yeah, and how hard it is to find them and where you see talent in that space, right?
Yes.
In general.
I mean, if you look at the world of venture capital, right, in the middle of San Francisco, what is the point of venture capital? It's people saying, I have billions of dollars and I want to find the talented companies when they're very, very small, right? When no one can see the value in them. So there's a lot of attention to finding the most talented small companies, but there's not enough attention to finding the most talented content creators before they're a thing. So the way I like to think of NAS Academy is it's like venture capital for content creators. Let's say we educate 5,000 students. 2 of them will be the next NAS Dailies. Part of it is luck. And the remaining 4,998, great. We work together. We educated them. They make videos for their kids or whatever. That's it. It's venture capital business. So what does it take to be a content creator? One, a lot of fucking luck. It took me a lot of luck to be able to create NAS Daily. I was born a man.
Which one was the video that blew up? The first one that really
number
got
270, day 270. So I had 270 on luck, but also luck before that. I was born a man. If I was a woman, my parents wouldn't let me go to Kenya and start NAS Daily. I graduated debt-free from university. If I had debt, I wouldn't quit my job. I would stay at my office job. I chose Facebook, and to my surprise, to my luck, Facebook was the right platform. So content creation has a lot of luck involved, but the basics, I think, are, I think, care. Like you have to care. Like a lot of people don't care.
True.
You know, you just have to care about the video and what you're creating. If you look at someone's eyes, can you see a little bit of passion? Can you see a little bit of like spark? If there is, they're meant to succeed no matter what. But a lot of people just don't care. So even the NAS Academy students, right? They take the class, they pay for it and everything, and then they don't put the effort. They don't care, and it's okay, you know. But
I forget who it was that said this, but the best business model is to care. Just care about your customers.
I love it. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I forget who. I'm probably going to get off this and then figure out who it was, but yeah, just care about your customers. So, but it's great. I mean, it's great. It's true though. You have to just care about your customers. You have to care about your craft, right? You have to care about what you're doing and spending your time on.
Last
Content
question.
creators is just another form of business. It's a business with one employee. That's what content creation is. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Last
Mario?
question from my side, Nas. If you look back at the last 4 years, is there something you would do different?
Is there something you would do different?
No, I don't think so.
So that's exactly it. It means you don't regret where you are now. So I'm fully satisfied with where I am now. So I wouldn't change a thing.
Beautiful. I love it.
I would say the same thing. Karen, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, there's lessons. There's lessons in everything. I would like to have a little bit more foresight, though, into a little more choices, maybe.
There you go.
Yep.
Awesome, guys. We're at the top of the hour. Thank you, Naz. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Mario. It's been an amazing conversation with people that I love dearly in what they do and as they are as human beings. Thank you, everyone, for talking tonight.
Guys, thank you so much. The reason I make 1 minute videos is because I don't think anyone would care to talk to me for more than a minute. So thank you all for spending 60 minutes with me. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate your time.
Starting tomorrow, 60 minutes. 60 videos, 60 minutes a day.
Every day. Every day.
Every day.
Okay. Thank you so much, Nas. Take care, guys.
Bye,
Have a great day.
Take care, guys.
Thank you so much today for listening to RDB's podcast. If you enjoyed the conversation, please consider leaving us a rating and a review. Also, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on Instagram at RDB.agency and on Twitter at RDB.agency. Thank you once again for listening. We'll see you next time.